Can you tell me why dwarves are different from the other elemental and dragon halves now?
Only the gods know why, but if you'll pump the bellows, I can tell you the story of the first dwarf. Long, long ago, when the mountains in the west were young, a dragon who loved gold was collecting ornaments for its treasure hoard. Over the years its collection grew, and it discovered by chance that its favorite pieces were all crafted by the same gnome. The dragon eventually captured the gnome over a course of adventures that I won't bore you with, which span more than a dozen dwarven historical ballads. After the gnome had been held captive for a year, the dragon had become so enamored that it told the gnome that it would grant one request in exchange for the treasures the gnome had crafted. Instead of freedom, the gnome demanded more crafting supplies. Each year the dragon offered to grant another request, but the gnome never left. Several hundred years later, the first dwarf was born, with the strength of a dragon and a gnome's affinity with the earth. Most dwarfs instinctively have a dragon's love of shiny metals, and a gnome's skilled hands. And now, perhaps you'll tell me why you didn't ask the children to help you fill the buckets at the fountain.
I don't know, it didn't even occur to me.
It's okay to ask for help sometimes. You have done well at every task I've asked of you. Is there anything else you could use help with that you haven't thought to ask?
I want to raise my breath skill. Please.
The smith chuckled and took down a huge hammer, decorated with gold inlays, off the wall above his workbenches.
I'll only teach you one skill, but I can teach you how to learn to breathe.
I don't need to learn a new skill. I need to learn how to practice the one I have.
Learning to assimilate the skills of others will not be a wasted effort. Every novice should try to learn everything they can. Zipsing.
How do I wear it?
Danika was already planning to learn everything she could. She was hoping that if her breath was a combat skill, and she could learn 2 other combat skills, that she could learn Treebane's special skill. Her mentor's little taunt had sounded like a sub-quest, and the travelling merchant's warning that she wouldn't have guidance outside the Vale if she insisted on being able to learn anything made her feel that she should take care to learn every skill possible while here.
Does my breath skill count as a combat skill, and are you one of the 3 combat specialists in the village?
It is a combat skill, and I have got a bit of combat skill myself, but no, my specialty lies in crafting.
All right, please teach me how to learn to use my breath skill.
Watch closely then, this hammer grants a breath skill, and I'll show you how to use it.
He reached down and tapped her lightly on the head. A faint chime rang in the distance. Danika stared up at the dwarf with determined concentration. He took a deep breath, and then turned and breathed a stream of fire into his forge. Danika frowned and took a deep breath and huffed it out. Nothing happened. The smith glanced at her and chuckled.
With such a low skill level, it may take 100 repetitions for you to absorb a level, or thousands to learn a skill. But so long as you don't give up, you can do it. Zipsing.
He drew another deep breath, and Danika watched with determination. It didn't take 100 repetitions. It took 97. Ironstone showed the inhuman patience of an NPC as he demonstrated his enchanted hammer's gift of fiery breath over and over. But then, the little fairy dragon that still concentrated and huffed its breath in imitation with nearly the same determination at the 97th repetition as it had at the first, also showed the nearly inhuman patience of a dedicated gamer.